Royal Oath is more than just an insurance agent. They're your promise keepers. Whether it's auto, home, business, life, or health insurance, they're here to protect what matters to you most. You can check them out at royaloathinsurance.com or give them a call at 562383535. And of course, today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends at Connection, the CRM built for closers. If you're a real estate agent, entrepreneur, or small business owner looking to automate, follow up, and close more deals and stay top of mind, then Connection is your secret weapon. Go to your. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back into the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm going to bring my guest on right now, Mr. Paul Salter. How are you, my friend?
Jimmy, fantastic. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh man, I thank you for joining me and joining. I know we had some problems connecting this thing together with our schedules, but I'm glad we were able to put this thing together. That's for sure.
It's the perfect time. Let's dig in.
The perfect time is always when it happens, right?
Yeah.
It's just how it works. So tell everybody about you, where you're from, what you're up to, and how you got to where we're at.
It's a loaded question. Be ready. So I'm currently down in Tampa, Florida, and my name is Paul Salter. I am a high-performance hypnotherapist and mindset coach. And what I do is help my clients unlearn the destructive patterns of feeling, thinking, believing, and behaving that hold them back from achieving their potential. And I primarily do this using hypnosis. Now, I'm biased. I love hypnosis. The research supports hypnosis. And that's particularly because it had such an indescribably positive impact on my life. Before we get to that part of the journey, though, it's worth mentioning my background, how we got to where we are today, having this phenomenal conversation. And I've been coaching for 17 years. The early part of my coaching was as a sports dietitian. I worked very closely at the collegiate, professional, and Olympic level. And what was really neat, selfishly, I had a front row seat to some of the best freaking athletes in all different sports. And I got to observe, how do they show up? How do they carry themselves? What's their work ethic really like? And that always fascinated me because I recognized from an early age as I got into my nutrition coaching career, 99% of people know how to make healthy, nutritious choices. There's something between the ears. There's something in the heart that's truly holding them back from executing consistently. So I'm taking all these learning experiences, beginning to build my foundational approach to behavior change. And I'm doing it through the lens of nutrition. I'm loving it. But about 10 years into that journey, I reached a fork in the road. I always had this irrepressible passion for the game of poker. And it was a matter of, do I keep dreaming about it, talking about it, saying one day, or do I just do the damn thing? So I chose the latter. I went all in on playing poker professionally. And about 6 months into that journey, I felt I was out studying, out working everybody. I had the coaches. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I also felt like I was still lighting money on fire. So something had to change. And I wasn't quite ready to throw in the towel yet. And I decided to ask for help. I hired a mindset coach. She happened to be a hypnotherapist. In a very short amount of time, the amount of money I was playing for, the amount of money I was earning exploded. But far more valuable was the impact she had on me, my current beliefs, my relationship with myself, money, success. And it was so impactful, I walked away from poker. I started phasing out my nutrition coaching clients, doubled down on my mindset work, got my credentials as a hypnotherapist, surrounded myself with the brightest, most accomplished minds in the hypnosis space I could to be a sponge to learn. And I haven't looked back since.
Man, what an incredible, man, there's a lot to unpack with that. It's so funny that we've connected like this because I've been a high school basketball coach for 20 some years.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I actually retired like 3 times, and keep getting pulled back out of it. And right now, currently, I'm the assistant for a JV and a varsity team up here in Michigan. But the funny story is the JV coach played for me. So he went from being my point guard to being a head coach, and now I'm his assistant. So that's where I'm at in my journey. So, but the mindset idea, and so let me ask you this question: when you were playing poker and things were good but not great, right? How did you make that decision to say, all right, I need I need something else. And then how did you stumble on hypnotherapy?
Two-part answer. One, really the seed that was nourished over my entire lifetime was this curiosity around why are the best in their respective industries and sports so much better than the rest. And what I mean is, growing up for me, it was Michael Jordan, it was Tiger
Mm,
Woods, Kobe Bryant, Roger Federer, who more or less spend the same number of hours per day as their competitors training. Why are they leaps and bounds better? So that was that seed of curiosity was always there. And I was very deep in the performance psychology space, spirituality, self-awareness. And I started stumbling upon hypnosis through that route. But what was really important for me is I am a big advocate for saying there is a huge difference between being committed to a goal and being interested in a goal. So for
mm.
me, poker was a commitment. And I know that one of the unwritten rules of being committed to achieving a big goal is not going at it alone. So through that curiosity of self-discovery that I had a passion for, and recognizing I was going to exhaust every resource possible, I knew I needed to ask for help. And it just so happens there was already an entire team of poker hypnotherapists who were helping their clients have amazing results. So I pursued the best of the best.
Interesting. Yeah, and man, you're right. And that decision to say, all right, I'm good. How do I get from good to great? Like there's a book, right? We've all, if we're in business and we've all read the book, that's good to great. But there is something truly to be said about that. And like you said, like, so Michael Jordan, same thing with me, right? Growing up, that was the guy that was who everybody wanted to be. I still wear the shoes, right? They've become cool in the business side of things, so I can wear them
Yeah.
with my sports coat, right? And now I have different colors that match the sports. It's a whole story. But
Smart man.
yeah. But that idea again I know I can do this. How do I do it? And I've hit this ceiling. And it's again breaking through that ceiling and getting help to get through that ceiling.
And there's two approaches to take to break that ceiling. And I feel like one of the approaches is actually counterproductive in the end. And what I mean by that is most people think that the reason they have not broken through the next level of success is a lack of knowledge problem. So they buy the courses, they buy the resources, they read the books over and over. It's more and more and more consumption. And there's the famous quote out there, knowledge is power. Not without action, implementation, and application. That's where so many people miss their opportunities. They consume and consume and consume. They might be the smartest person in the room, but they don't apply what they know. So they get stuck in this cycle of consuming. They get burnt out, frustrated, impatient, and so on and so forth goes the cycle. Where the real low-hanging fruit, or I should say not low-hanging fruit, real opportunity is when you know what to do to achieve your goal, and you're not doing it, that's a mindset problem.
Mm.
And that we can strip down and begin to uncover. Maybe it's a fear, failure, judgment, success. Maybe it's a lack of belief that you're deserving, worthy, or capable. Maybe it feels unsafe to stand out because next level success means more pressure, more expectation. Am I able to do this? Was last session or season's success a fluke? So there's really so many opportunities to look within to begin the path to breaking through to that next level.
Oh man, and you're so right, because again, we always seek knowledge. That's the first place we go to, because we feel like, oh my, I've been in this AI deep dive, right, for the last couple of years of. And again, because I've always spoken and talked about emotional intelligence, but now everything you go to says artificial intelligence, AI. Every mastermind event, everything you go, everything, especially in the entrepreneur world, it's all you have. If you don't have AI, you're falling behind. If you don't have AI, but one thing I've found, and this is where you can go deeper on this, but if you're using AI, but you're living in chaos, you're just amplifying the chaos. You're not making it any better.
It's like putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. I have people tell me all the time they've started using ChatGPT as their therapist, as their coach. And I have a client in particular, and we had some awesome discussion around this. He's working with me and he is just obsessed with ChatGPT. And I absolutely think a traditional cognitive behavioral therapist or a similar therapist complements the type of work I do well. They can work synergistically, but he is just binging this relationship with ChatGPT. And what we were able to uncover is he was just getting quick hits of dopamine. Oh, ChatGPT gave me this
Mm.
fancy science word to explain why I do or feel the way I do. And that's all well and good. And you can have all the awareness in the world. But if you don't start doing, thinking, being different, you're not going to achieve different.
So true. So true. It is because we want that quick fix. We want that. Dopamine's great, right? We feel really good. And I just Tony Robbins just did his 3-day event, and you had all, and the I mean, it was the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And you feel good after it. You feel great. But then what, right? And then what do I do, right? I feel great, and I walked across coals. My feet were hot, but I'm great. Now I go back to the office and I look around, and I'm just in an office, and there's no one here clapping for me, and there's no one. And that's probably the biggest thing you find is trying to get people over that hump. Am I right?
You're spot on. You have one of these, transformational experiences, or even, there's a lot of coaches out there or in the hypnosis space, they'll do a hypnosis session. It can be a powerful, cathartic experience. And then that's it. Like, where's the integration? Where's the application? Like what you're mentioning in your experience, if you had somebody checking in on you weekly, holding you accountable, pushing you outside of your comfort zone, ensuring you follow through on the promises you make to yourself, you're going to have a hell of a better long-term impact and experience from that initial experience. And that's where so many people fall short. Maybe even it's just the consumption of a new book, a new strategy, a new tactic that excites them. Their mind drifts to the possibility of how many more deals they're going to close. But if they don't routinely do what they need to do because it's uncomfortable, it's scary, well, then it's just a moment that quickly vanishes.
Yeah. Yeah. Easy come, easy go, right?
Yeah.
In some sense, that's just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
So in your experience, now how long have you been doing the the that side of everything?
I have been doing the hypnosis side of thing going on 5 years.
Okay. Okay. And that's always been interesting to me too, because you have this group of people that will say, "Oh, I can't be hypnotized. It doesn't work on me. It doesn't. None of this works on me." And I'm like, and then you have the other side that can get hypnotized by just snapping your fingers, right? And then you forget everything you've thought of the last 30 years, and I can control your mind this way. So, but on that side of things, how easy or difficult has it been to get people to buy into it in a sense?
It starts with education. So a lot of people hear hypnosis. They think that I'm going to dangle a pocket watch, get them to cluck like a chicken, or maybe they go back to something they saw at a comedy show or on a cruise ship. Technically, that is all hypnosis. It's just completely unlike anything that I do and my clients do. So again, we go down this: hypnosis is not magic, not mind control, not washing. You're awake, alert, conscious, and in control every step of the way. Hypnosis is a natural state of mind. And literally you, me, everybody listening and watching right now has been in hypnosis multiple times today. It's the same state of mind you're in the moment you transition from sleeping to waking, when you're caught up in a good book, your favorite TV show, or deeply immersed in that flow state on the golf course or on a project at work. So I share that right out of the bat just to familiarize and normalize you with it. It's a safe, natural state of mind. So sure, there are plenty of people who have the resistance, and the education is very helpful. But even you and me are going to go through periods of that trance-like flow state during this conversation. We already have, will continue to do. We're just continuing to undulate the different brain waves we're producing. And when we're primarily producing what are called theta brain waves, that's the hypnotic state. That's the sweet spot where your brain becomes incredibly malleable. We capitalize on neuroplasticity, and we can begin to rewrite some of those memories to unlearn beliefs and behaviors that are holding you back from who you want to become.
Mm. Yeah, man, this is that moment when athletes or anybody that's an entrepreneur, like as a realtor in negotiation, right, where they say that you get that moment where the game slows down, right? That's that state you're talking about, where the game slows down. Now I can actually see and I can function, right? I do a lot of public speaking, and I teach a lot of people about public speaking too. And it's very similar because, one of the things I teach about public speaking is if you feel like you're going fast, you're going way too fast. You know what I mean? Like if you and your head are up there on stage and you think you're going fast and you need to slow down, nobody out there could probably even understand what you're saying right now, because that's how fast you're going, because we don't know that state that we're in. And it's the fight or flight. It's the panic. It's all of those things into one. And I know you specialize with golfers at this point, right?
I work with a lot of golfers, but really, I joke, anybody, any profession, industry, A to Z, who wants to get to their next level of success, that's my ideal client. Somebody hungry, ambitious, open-minded, coachable. I just happen to love working with golfers because I love to golf.
So you've mended this thing together of like, it's funny. So my son I have a 14-year-old and I have a 21 and a 14-year-old. My 14-year-old loves golf.
Okay.
And he's really gotten into it the last couple of years, and he's turned into a pretty good golfer, right? But I always joke, and I tell my wife, I said, he wants to go, not me, right? It's not me that wants to go. He wants to go, and who else is going to take him? You know what I mean? Like who else should take him out golfing besides me?
I love that. I've got a 14-month-old at home, and I'm already bringing him to the driving range with me, just hoping he begins to fall in love with it.
Yeah, they will. It's so like I said, I've been in the basketball for, coaching. Both my boys play basketball, and now my oldest is a manager at a major university right now, with the basketball team. So they'll fall in love with it. Just keep doing what you're doing, and they'll get there. And
I love it.
It's not forced. It's just showing them, right? They're just going to do what they're around. But so through that with golfers, and how are you finding this on the entrepreneur side, like on the business side? How are you getting people in that state, and what state should they be in, right? If they're handling negotiations or anything.
Yeah. So first, I always tell my clients, whether it's entrepreneurship or golf, both are mirrors of your own personal development journey. And what I mean by that is if you're triggered and you suffer from performance anxiety, imposter syndrome, fear of success on the golf course or in negotiations in your business, those aren't the only places you suffer with that particular challenge. So I always share that just to help people understand it all comes back to you. You bring your whole self to the golf course, to the negotiation table as well. Now, when it comes to the negotiations or, trying to close deals, what often happens is some type of triggering event occurs that knocks us off our A game. It could be like literally the environment you're having the conversation in. It could be something somebody says, a word, a sentence, the way they say it, or 15,000 other different variables. But why I'm bringing this to the forefront of our conversation is this trigger has the potential to detonate what I call a destructive mindset program. And this is a pre-programmed reaction that starts with a triggering event. An emotion floods over. It could be anger. It could be shame. It could be neediness. It could be anxiety. It could be a ton of emotions, but those emotions then begin to cloud your belief system. Your belief is a lens through which you see the world. And suddenly you start having a cloudier version of how you see yourself, what you believe you're deserving, worthy, and capable of. So maybe you start to play small. You compromise too much. You hold back. You're not authentic. You're not aligned. You don't follow through and hold your boundaries and commitments. And suddenly you have wrecked or blown the opportunity unknowingly, unconsciously in the matter of a few seconds. And that is what we are looking to A, become aware of, B, trace back and get to the core of whatever that triggering moment was that made you feel unworthy or undeserving. Or maybe somebody said something that locked you into this fight or flight. I'm angry. I got to fight back. I got to prove myself. And it completely knocks you off your A game. It's like one of these emotions hijacks the steering wheel of your decisions and actions and drives you somewhere you have no intention of going.
You have me contemplating myself right now. This is like I need some self-reflection after we're done today, or maybe I just need to come lay on the couch and just have a session. But so through all that and finding out like what these triggers are and all those things, then how do I control those I have to figure out what they are first, right?
Mhm.
Because we have to figure out what the issue is. Then how is it that I can control that, how I feel?
Yeah, so this is when the beauty and power of hypnosis comes into play. So the two core benefits that we create when we intentionally go into the hypnotic state. Number one, you, me, everybody listening to this show is ambitious. Tenacity is at an all-time high, a strong work ethic. We also likely happen to have an incredibly harsh and judgmental critical voice in our mind that says, you suck, why bother, stop trying. So we quiet all of that nonsense and negativity. Two, you connect directly with your subconscious mind. 95% of what you do every day is influenced by your subconscious mind. It is home to your memories, your beliefs, your values, and your habits. So we will use hypnosis as we begin to identify these triggering situations, which, most important to know, are all learned, whether it's anxiety, anger, whether it's procrastination, perfectionism. They're all learned feelings and behaviors. So we'll use hypnosis to uncover that first moment you learned that emotion, that behavior, that belief. As crazy as it might sound, there was a period in your life where that particular behavior, it served you. It helped ensure your human or childhood needs of acceptance, connection, belonging, love, being seen and heard were met. It just so happens all these years later, they don't serve you and they're quite destructive. So we get the chance to go unlearn them.
Interesting. I just lost sound.
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, there you're back. That was weird. That was weird. Yeah, technology. But you're right, and we see this a lot, and I'm sure you deal with this with everybody you come in contact with is the social media aspect of everything,
Mhm.
and this imposter syndrome that we start to feel, and this idea that oh, I'm just not living up to this person. I'm not. This person's doing way better than me, and how are they doing better than me when I should be doing better than them? And I'm doing the same things they're doing, but they're having success with it, and all these things now. And I'm gonna come back to another question later on too, but with this one specifically,
Mhm.
like, do you have people like tone down on social media, like take it away a little bit? Do they, or how are you controlling that?
Yeah, it's a really great question, and it's a very unique answer to the individual. So I have some clients who know they need to be posting on social media regularly because the visibility creates credibility,
Yep.
which leads to profitability. So sometimes it's helping them overcome that fear of standing out, that fear of having all of that attention, because right now it feels overwhelming, heavy, and crippling. The pressure, the expectations, the eyeballs. So in some regards, that's the context of the challenges that we overcome. On the other end, it's that person who suffers from just, comparison, envy. Oh my gosh, this person's doing that. They logically understand that social media is a highlight reel, but they get so consumed by it, they let it further bring down their self-worth and their self-esteem. So we'll get tactical. I'll have them go intentionally unfollow accounts, delete their own account if need be for periods of time, and we'll work on those self-esteem issues to build them back up. And then we'll put in place a much more intentional consumption strategy to avoid the doom scrolling at all freaking costs.
Yeah, because that's the worst. Like
Mhm.
the doom scrolling thing. You just start going through, and what people don't understand, and I can use my mom as an example. My mom's 80, and she's on Facebook, right? That's her thing.
Yep.
But what I'm finding, and you probably attest to this, but it's she doesn't understand how an algorithm works.
Mm.
And she doesn't understand that what she looks at and clicks on then doubles down and triples down, and then that's all you start to see. So, I brought this up with her. She sent me something the other day, and she's like, "Look at this video." I said, "Mom, it's AI." She it she's like, How do you know?" I said, "'Cause the guy's got 3 arms." Like, there's you know, there's 3 arms in the video, and then we're only given 2. God only gives us 2, right? Like, that's all that God gives us.
Mhm.
So, but again, that age gap, she just she comes from the Walter Cronkite world where it was the news and it didn't matter, and
Yeah.
that's all you got. Now they're getting all this stuff. So the algorithm, and when people don't understand that, which leads back to your thing of this, sometimes you just have to take it away from somebody.
Absolutely. And you brought up another interesting point is, you just highlighted your mom's learned behavior there. And really I jokingly say, but what I seriously do with my clients is dehypnotize them from the habits,
Mm.
the behaviors, the beliefs that they've picked up upon their entire life. Researchers estimate by the age of 7, 95% of our core belief system is formed. You're not responsible for your beliefs, but you are the only one responsible for changing and upgrading them. Even more important to share is those first 7 years of life, you're primarily producing theta brainwaves, which means you're pretty much in walking hypnosis 24/7.
Mm. That's it's this old story that I know. It's about, Susie they were making a ham, right? And
Mhm.
the family was all over, and she was making a ham, and she cut both ends of the ham off and threw it in the oven. And her sister said, "Well, why do you cut both ends of the ham off?" And she said, "Well, that's what mom always did." So they called the mom, and the mom said, "I don't know. That's what grandma always did." And they got a hold of grandma, and grandma said, "I just didn't have a pan big enough at the time. So I just cut both ends off." And they were like, "Well, that was the only reason?" And the grandma was like, "Yeah, I just didn't have a pan big enough to fit the ham in. So I had to cut the ends off to fit it in the pan." So they're like, so it was just because that's what they learned, right? They didn't,
Yeah.
and nobody changed it, and nobody figured it out until one year they just said, "Well, somebody said, why are you cut the ends off?" And then no one knew until they got a hold of grandma, and grandma said, "Just because I didn't have a pan big enough at the time."
That's a great story. I love that. But it brings up such a great point.
Yeah.
Vishen Lakhiani, he's written a couple of books. He's the founder of Mind Valley. And his first book, that the name eludes me, he talks about brules, BRULES, which is just short for bullshit rules. But it's essentially the same. Questioning, where did this belief come from? Is
Yeah.
it mine? Does it serve me? And if you can go down the rabbit hole of reflection through a lens of non-judgmental curiosity, you quickly become exposed to how many of your beliefs, how you approach different search situations, is not how you would actually do it if you stopped to pause. We now bring it back to those triggering situations. You're not responding, you're unconsciously reacting. These programs automatically detonated. That's why in hindsight, we always kick ourselves. We're like, shit, I would have done this totally different. I would have said this. We had time to think, pause, respond.
Yeah. Yeah. PTA, right? Pause, think, and then act.
Yeah.
You can't do it in reverse order. But yeah, there's so many of those learned things we get. And you're right. You, you, you have to be the one that pulls yourself kind of out of those situations then, right? And those beliefs that are learned, but then how do I pull myself out of those things? And that's what you do.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to kind of circle back to, because you've been doing this for a long time. And if we, harken back to 6 years ago, we were right in the middle of COVID, right? At this point,
Mhm.
right? We were right in the middle of we hadn't shut down yet. We shut down in March of
Yeah.
2020. But January was when things started kind of faltering.
Mhm.
How did that affect what you do?
For me personally or just in general?
For both, really. Like, so for you personally, right?
Uh-huh.
And then how did it affect you dealing with your clients? Because then we were isolated, we were locked in a house.
Yeah, I mean, for personally, it had a gigantic impact on me. Candidly, I was married at the time, and it just really challenged me to get clear on what I believed, how I wanted to navigate this period, and who I was, how I wanted to approach business during this time. So for me, it turned into being a wonderful teaching opportunity.
Mm,
Rife with challenge and discomfort is an understatement. But it was a big teaching opportunity that allowed me to better understand the actions I could take to self-regulate, really double down or create new practices. I really believe some of my meditation and journaling habits from that were solidified during or because of that time frame, because that felt like the only way I could escape all that was going on to stay connected and aligned to who I authentically was. And it's now something I coach and teach about all the time. It has to be a foundational component to success. You have to have some type of reflection practice, silence, solitude, whether it be journaling, meditation, breath work. I don't care how you label it, what you call it, but an intentional time every day dedicated to connecting with yourself. Because now, especially with AI, social media, on top of the pandemic 6 years ago, there is no shortage of information out there attempting to compete for your attention. You've got to be able to let go of that and come back home to you.
mm, man. Yeah, it was a crazy time, right? It was like
Mhm.
that was that was at that time we started homeschooling our kids because that was what we
Mm,
had to do. Like we were on Zooms. They were my son my youngest at the time was in third grade and he was on Zooms in third grade trying
crazy.
to put a room full of third graders on a Zoom. Um, and I would sneak up and watch from behind, him in his classrooms, and all they were doing, all of them were changing their backgrounds, right, adding characters into their thing, changing different filters, and I'm like, nobody's paying attention to anything in this class right now.
No.
But no, and it was a very hard time for a lot of people. I'm up in the Metro Detroit area, so our and I have family down in Alabama. And the funny thing is, when we went down to Alabama that year to visit, the farther south we get, the less restrictions we had.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like we up here, it was we were masked, we were mandated, we were all these things, and then the farther south we got, it kind of just everybody was just living their life, and I was like, wow, this is weird. This is
Yeah.
crazy. But
Fun fact, I was in Royal Oak for a year, right outside, right in Detroit area.
oh yeah, that's 20 minutes for me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Royal Oak's a great little town.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the problem with golf up here is you can only do it for 6 months, maybe.
That's why I'm down in Florida.
Yeah, yeah. I don't blame you for that one at all. At all. There's 2 feet of snow outside right now, so
That's
I don't blame you
oh,
for that.
man.
Yeah, with more on the way. When I
Cool.
got in my car this morning, it was -4. So yeah.
Yep. No, thank you.
Although you did just recently have frozen iguanas falling out of trees.
We had 26 degrees and 21 degrees the other day, which, I'm not going to complain about based on your situation, but for Tampa, incredibly atypical.
Yes. Yes. Crazy.
Yeah.
And so where do you see now, like thinking about this is 2026,
Mhm.
the AI implementation of everything, right? Everybody's doing AI, everything has some facet of AI into it, which blows my mind because I'm like, that doesn't even really fit.
It's a valuable tool in so many ways. It really is a superpower if you take the time to understand and leverage its capabilities for certain aspects of your business.
Mm,
It can and will never replace human to human interaction, being, relationship building, trust building. And that's the crux of life, business, and sales. And if you outsource that to AI, you are going to rapidly fall behind.
yes. Oh man, no truer words have ever been spoken. I don't think like that. Because again, emotional intelligence, right? Be, show, do, have, right? We always want, but everybody wants to skip to the have,
Yeah.
which is fine. We all want the same thing. We all want to skip to the easy part. If there was an easy button in life, I would hit it, right? I've learned over 52 years there isn't one. So for anybody that's wondering, no, there's not an easy button. But the tools and the tricks that you're doing are important, along with the help that you're getting, like what you're doing. And so people need to find that person that can help them. Again, mental health in this country is the is very suspect, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not. We don't think about it, especially being a man.
Yeah.
That's really put on the back burner, right? Like we're just supposed to toughen up, suck it up, get through it, go to work, do our thing, and it's hard. So that's this is one of the things I've discovered over the last few years too is being able to be in touch with your emotions and being able to still be a man, so to speak,
Mhm.
right? That
Yeah.
I can cry at a movie. You know what I mean? And it's okay. Right. I have 2 boys and they've learned from I think they've learned from me that it's the emotions are a thing. I'm a hugger. This was another thing that was hard for me in COVID. I'm a hugger. You know what I mean? Like, then it was you just fist bump. I didn't know what to do. I'm a handshaker and a hugger. And so but no, so when you're working with your clients that either are that overly sensitive or undersensitive, how is that? Like you just finding the common ground with them at that point?
Yeah, the men who are emotionally constipated are such a blast to work with because I get it. I was emotionally constipated the first 3 years, 30 years of my life, not 3 years, 30 years. So I get it. I have the empathy and relatability there, but you're right. Men in particular, like, are just so engrossed, or dare I say, hypnotized with it's not safe to show emotion. It's not safe. It's a sign of weakness to ask for help. There's no sense in being vulnerable. Whereas you and I and many people are really learning and discovering vulnerability is a superpower. Asking for help accelerates results. So, really, with a lot of men I work with who kind of start, they put up this stoic front, and I don't experience sadness. I get stressed on occasion. First, of course, it's building that foundation of trust and really creating that safe environment to help them begin to open up. And one of my superpowers is asking the right questions and getting them to begin to open up a little bit more, because ultimately what we uncover is that same stoic, emotional constipation. It's just been passed down generation to
Mm.
generation. You know it, I know it. Dad didn't show emotion, granddad didn't show emotion. So it's all they know. And we really begin to find more often than not that there's been some pretty heavy, challenging moments in those childhood where they wish they had that hug, words of affection. And we can go back through hypnosis and revisit some of those moments and memories, and, color them with a different color where they're able to feel those emotions, and all that stuck, repressed energy is released. It comes to the surface. We begin to ultimately create more feelings of safety, feeling, acknowledging, and sharing emotions.
Oh man. That it's gotta be tough, and I'm sure you have some to put it lightly, some tough nuts to crack, right? Like, I mean, to
Yeah.
some tougher people that again, you're talking about pro athletes, right? And it's this persona of being a pro athlete and being on the PGA tour, and this, I'm tough, and pressure doesn't get to me, right? I'm not gonna miss this 3-foot putt that's gonna cost me $1 million, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give your listeners a low hanging fruit exercise. Like, if you're resonating with this part of our conversation, set 5 alarms during the day for 3 hour increments. So that might be, 8, 11, 2, 5, 8, adjusted around your wake time. Every time your alarm goes off, you're going to open the notes app in your phone. You're going to do this for 7 straight days, and you're going to answer the question, how do I feel right now? And
Mm.
beforehand, you're going to Google, you can literally go to Google and type in list of emotions, because you're not allowed to answer good, fine, bad, okay. We're using this to expand emotional vocabulary first and foremost. But B, over those 7 days, you're going to start to see patterns. And then the next level of that is you write down how you're feeling. What were you doing at the time? You begin to see a deeper pattern. When I do X, I feel Y. When I do A, I feel B. And that creates an opportunity of awareness, but then action to make the necessary changes.
Oh man, that is a fantastic exercise.
Yeah.
Um, I've been trying to implement. When I wake up in the morning, we talk about gratitude, and
Yeah.
what am I grateful for, and then when I go to bed at night, I try to remember this, and I've got to get into a better habit of it. But writing 3 things down that happened good today,
Hmm.
right? Just 3 things that happened
Yep.
in every day. There's 3 good things that happened to you today.
Yeah.
It could be the worst day of your life, but there's 3 things that happen probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get in a habit now. Is that something like is that just repetition? Is that just doing it and
It
keeping it simple?
it is repetition. I have a very similar approach. I start my day with 3 things I'm grateful for, and I end it with what was the best part of my day. But like you, I struggle to stop at one. I usually find many good things. I go very, very intentional, putting sticky notes on your phone, anything you can to make it so obvious and irresistible to ingrain this new behavior ultimately as a habit, I will do. So I love the sticky notes, the index cards, the reminders and alarms on your phone. And just like you alluded to, more repetition, it begins to eventually begins to go to that journey of becoming a habit.
Oh man, it's so good. It does help. I mean, it just kind of some of it's just like a flush too. Like I
Yeah,
can just take some of this off of my brain.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's always interesting because these stories and relating this to life it's so important, and it's so what people have to realize is we all are going through something, right? It just looks a little different than what I'm going through. It looks a little different than what you're going through, and it's how you handle it, and what that reach out looks like. And
Hmm.
when do people find and I know you reached out to and figured out hypnosis was what was going to help you.
Mhm.
What do you think these golfers and everybody else, when do you think they get to that moment that they need to reach out to Paul? Like I need this and this is what I need.
Candidly, I'm often a last resort. Most
Mm.
people I work with have tried everything. A lot of whether it's entrepreneurs, business owners, real estate investors, and agents, they've tried the real estate business coaching, or they've tried all of the Tony Robbins, the Alex Hormozy stuff. All fantastic knowledge. But again, like we kicked off this conversation, if you're struggling to apply the knowledge and take action, it's not a lack of knowledge problem. It's not, another book isn't going to save you. You got to dig in and understand why you continue to repeat the same patterns. And that's uncomfortable. It's confronting. It literally threatens your ego, your identity, life as you know it. Yet it is also the most rewarding and fulfilling work you can ever do, that not only benefits you, it has a positive ripple effect into everybody you interact with's lives as well.
It's incredible because and it's funny that you're the last resort, right? Like because we figure out that, oh, I just need another book. I need another swing coach. I need another thing that I'm going to clip onto my club that's going to help me swing better, right? Like all these things that I have at home.
I said that sounded personal.
These grip trainers, man, they're great. But no, you're right, and it's funny, like I alluded to my son earlier, and literally we were playing golf this past summer, and he had a couple bad holes in a row, and it just frustrated, to the point of like he just, and I literally had him just sit in the cart for a whole hole. I'm like, just take this one off. Like, just take this one off. Because he was so frustrated and so upset and so mad. But what happens is, and you know this, you're the professional, but what happens is you make one mistake into two, then you make two into four, and then you make four into eight, and you're just compounding these mistakes, and it's you just get into this rut, so to speak, right? What's an easy way to help people get out of that? Is it just taking some time off and like putting the stuff down for a minute? And again, whether that's real estate or whether that's business or is it just checking out for a minute?
I think you can look at it on the macro and the micro level. So in some cases with my amateur golfers, and even some of my professional golfers, actually, as I reflect on it, take an extra couple days off. Don't touch a club. Literally step away. Because what's happening too is a lot of people listening who relate to this, they're grinding, they're going. But we forget there's always a lag effect when it comes to actually experiencing the results you're looking for. And when you take that time away, it gives an opportunity for your subconscious to integrate the skill acquisition and the knowledge. Without that time away, that's very difficult. So all of those thoughts, those questions, those things to remember remain top of mind, which rob you from the present moment when you need to execute. It creates mental interference. So on the macro level, that's why, if we look at a whole year, like taking planned rest, days off, vacations. I know some of those words are not too familiar to your audience. We need more time off. We need strategically planned breaks. But then on the micro level with the golfing in particular, breathe. How can you find 3 to 5 deep breaths? How can you reconnect with nature and engage as many of your 5 senses as possible? You have to be present when you're invoking multiple senses. You're connected to your breath, and that helps kind of bring down the noise of that mental interference that was previously so high.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
I'm a big fan too, especially like on the golf course, even before, if you're stressed during the day and you catch yourself, it's called a physiological sigh. It's a big inhale through the nose and you just dump it out the mouth. If you're watching this, you probably saw my shoulders came up as I'm taking that breath in, and they just dramatically dropped on my exhale. And doing that a couple of times, it is a whole body nervous system sigh to reset and relax.
Oh man. And it is, sometimes you just need to breathe. Yeah. Like you forget about it. It's think about, like, it's when you work out, right? People will start working out so hard they're not breathing when they're working out. They're holding their breath. But it's like you're gonna pass out, right? And it's then anxiety and all these things happen. And as entrepreneurs, we see it too, because if you're in a strict negotiation, right, and it's going back and forth, and now my brain's sped up, and now I'm not breathing because I'm trying to think. And one of the advice I always give too is like taking a step outside for a minute, like
Mm.
just walking outside, right? If oh, you know what, I didn't take this phone call, or whatever excuse you need to make up to just step away for a second. Like, I'll share it now. People are gonna be like, "Oh, that's what you did to me," but, but but like, "Oh, my son's calling right now," right? Like, I gotta go take this call because my son, he never calls me, right? Like, it's my son. I gotta take this call, and it's really just like I need a second to download a little bit what's going on, right? The other thing is, and I don't know how you feel about it, is I always ask the question back, right? If I'm in a negotiation and they're just rattling off questions to me, I just start asking them back, because now it's letting me again think about what this answer is going to be the correct way.
I like that a lot. And something where I've grown tremendously, I podcast, I interview, and I'm learning a lot from you. So kudos to you. This is fantastic. When I'm in we'll call it an intense conversation, I used to be very uncomfortable with silence.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit here all day now. I don't care. But because what I'm doing and pausing is just like you mentioned, I'm downloading, I'm processing. I don't have this urge to be right or say something first like I used to. And it taken a lot of work. But that pause is the same thing. It allows me to process, and it prevents me from reacting, creating an opportunity to respond instead.
Oh man, that you're right. That power of the pause is so big, because we're human beings and we feel like we need to fill that. It gets that we call it awkward. That's why we call it awkward silence, right? We call it awkward silence because we feel awkward when it's happening, and so we just naturally just start to fill it because our nerves are happening and whatever else. And I'm with you. I'll sit here. It's okay. It's somebody's going to talk at some point.
And what's interesting is in those moments of silence, a lot of people describe them as incredibly loud, because for the first time and who knows how long, all they hear are their true thoughts, their fears coming to the surface. And it's so loud, so uncomfortable and scary. They focus on getting the hell out of there and talk, 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 talk. So they don't have to confront that.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And so when people come to you, is it literally like the movie? Is it like lay on the couch, tell me all about everything, and how does that work? Or is it like Tony Soprano? Do I just sit in the chair next to you and I talk to you?
No, so all of my sessions ever, the thousands and thousands of sessions, always done via Zoom. And if you think about it too, you are
Wow.
much more comfortable and physiologically, psychologically safer in your own familiar environment versus walking into this office that smells weird, looks funny, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
Your willingness to let go and open up is far greater when you're in the comfort of your own home. So I do all of my calls on Zoom, and I typically block out about 75 minutes for our typical call. The first 15 to 18 minutes, we're digging into, what's the biggest problem, challenge, obstacle that we're really working on today. I'm probing, I'm poking a lot of questions till I get all the data and information I need. And then, we'll then transition to the hypnosis portion, which might be 25 to 30 minutes in total. We'll do some recap, some homework, some setting goals and action steps at the end. And it's all done Zoom, the comfort of your own bed. You can sit down, you can lie down, you can have your camera on, off. I need you comfortable. I need to be able to hear you. Those are my two prerequisites, and we dive in.
Oh man. That is a very good point that you brought up about like where I'm comfortable and how I'm gonna feel, and be able to open up. Right, because I feel I've never been to therapy. I probably should have. Um, there's a lot going on up here right now. But I feel like you're right. And now that I think about that, that's probably one of the reasons that maybe some people don't go to therapy, is because they don't want to be seen walking into that building, right? Or be seen
Hmm.
walking into so and so's office, like, oh, did you see who, he's going to this shrink now, right? Like, or whatever. But yeah, so there may be something to that, right? Unless you have a secret entrance like Tony Soprano used, that you can just, nobody else saw you go in there. But but no, I really see how that would be better, because I'm in my own recliner, so to speak, right? Or I'm
Mhm.
relaxed, to the point where I'm going to be open and more sharing with you, um,
Mhm.
because of that, because of being in that comfortable position.
Yeah.
It's a very wise thing. And again, technology now has sped up so fast,
Mhm.
and what we have and what we're capable of doing now.
Yeah.
Just like this, you're in Tampa, I'm in Detroit. It's
Yeah.
5 degrees outside. It's 70 down there, right?
It feels like 5. I think it's like 55.
Yeah. Oh, 55 for us. We're in shorts, man. That's yeah. We might be swimming in 55. Who knows? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. So but it is that comfort level, and again, getting people to pull their guard down and relax,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that's probably got to be the most difficult thing for you, to get people to do.
Maybe, maybe not. And this is so systematized after thousands and thousands of reps in that, I'm able to build that rapport quickly. And, again, the transition into the hypnosis is smooth, it's seamless. It's really not as unfamiliar as maybe somebody first believed when they started the call with me or they first got to know me because of the education and the rapport. So I like to think it's a much smoother process now versus 1,000 reps ago or so, if you will. And really, we get to then conserve all of that energy for the deep work that we're doing during the hypnosis portion.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's interesting because again, you've been doing this a lot, right? And it's that becomes very familiar too. Like you said, you've been doing this repetitions. You've done this, however many times you've done it. Um, and and you can't share anything with me, right? But what's what's been probably the most difficult, not necessarily patient or not, but situation that you've had to kind of overcome and deal with?
Every once in a while, there is. So I'll step back and then it'll all make sense in the beginning. The challenges that we're addressing are so enmeshed in the identity of the people I'm coaching. So I'm, in essence, asking them to let go of all they've ever known. That's
Mm,
freaking scary. It's a threat. So there are some obstacles and challenges and beliefs that take multiple of our coaching sessions or around this one belief. And we continue to chip away, chip away, chip away. And it can just feel, a lot of times after my call, I use this analogy. Especially after our first call, I say, I just shook you up like a snow globe. Memories, emotion, energy scattered everywhere. Typically plays out in one of two directions. You either feel a sudden burst of energy, like you could run a marathon, or you feel like you got hit by a bus. Probably 8 out of 10 people, it's the latter. They feel exhausted, even irritated. And, having to go through these big, heavy emotional releases and confrontations to their identity, their beliefs, their way of knowing life can be heavy and draining in the interim. And just reminding them and supporting them, holding them accountable on the other side of that is the fulfillment, the beauty, the ease, the flow, the speed and acceleration that they crave.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it is that it is exhausting, right? Like it's funny. It's it's there's those days that I get home and I'm with people all the time, right? And
Yeah.
I'm shaking hands and kissing babies and doing all the things that we have to do when we're out here. And I literally sometimes get home and just sit down and I'm done peopling today, right?
Mhm.
I just want to I want to turn the TV on. I want to watch it. And I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm just done peopling today. Cause I people a lot, right? It's
Mhm.
just what we do. It's the entrepreneur lifestyle. It's the real estate. It's just, I'm out here building a business, and the more people I talk to, the more business that comes in. So I got to talk to a lot of people. It just goes on and on. But there's those days, and it is, to your point, if you were to start downloading what's up here, I would be exhausted. I mean, I would
Mhm.
be tired. Yeah, I would be
You
tired.
need a transition routine. Maybe you have one, but I tell a lot of my clients who struggle with the same thing, who do work out of the house. The moment you pull that car into the driveway or the garage, you need to take 2 to 5 minutes of a couple of deep breaths, reconnect with what is the intention, who do you or how do you want to show up in chapter 3 of your day. Maybe you got to put the dad or the mom hat on, the significant other, but you need to take a few minutes to yourself so you're not just rushing and bringing all that anxious energy from the workday into the household.
That's a really good piece of advice. It's a very good piece of advice, because then the other problem that we have now is we instantly go to this,
Mhm.
right? As soon as something stops, and I pull this up because my phone's gone off like 3 different times. You know what I mean? And it's like I gotta answer that. Oh man, it's so shutting that off is another key factor for me.
Yeah, something that's been revolutionary for me is every Saturday I don't touch email or social media.
Mm,
It's just what they call it, digital detox, whatever it is. That's been very helpful for me, especially, a lot of my nutrition business was purely on Instagram for a very long time. So that was
sure.
10 years of just living and dying by Instagram, exhausting to say the least. And as I worked on detaching, I am by no means perfect, but that Saturday commitment, I have honored the heck out of that commitment for years, and it served me really well. It's not too it's one day and you can do anything
Right.
for one day, but it's gone a long way in just keeping my sanity and my energy.
I love that. It's very hard for us, but you can find a day, right?
Mhm.
We're not the president, right? We can find a day. The president takes days off, right? Like we're not that
Yeah.
important. We can take a day off.
Yeah. And most people appreciate, like, I used to have that fear when I was coaching so many people in the nutrition space, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get back to them? And as I progressed in this, I just candidly told them, like, I'm off email these days, for example. And I remember
Yeah.
getting a few early responses like, that's awesome. Cool. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for telling me. Just, if you have to communicate with whoever you need to communicate with, and just do it.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. And again, as long as you're upfront, transparent, just tell people like, "Hey, this is the day I'm not responding to emails. I'm not responding to I'm shutting it down."
Yeah.
I think most people would be like, "Wow, maybe that's what I should do."
Bingo. It's inspiring for others.
Yeah, because you just said it, and I'm like, man, I need to take a day and just shut it off too. I don't know, like, and don't get me wrong, there's those days too that all of a sudden, like, I've shut it down, and now all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, now my phone goes off. Now this whole momentum transpires into like 6 more text messages or whatever. Those are still going to be there tomorrow.
Hmm.
They're still going to be there tomorrow. I don't need to put out the fire every day. Like they're going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we all need to have a reset and think about, is that it's that we're not always gonna it's not always gonna happen that same way. We need to figure that out. So, man, an hour goes by a lot faster when the conversation is this good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the conversation is good. I got to bring you back. We'll have to figure out some time to have you come back on. But Paul, where can everybody find you? And go again. Tell us again what it is you do and how you do it, and again where everybody can find you.
Yes. So I'm a high performance hypnotherapist and mindset coach, and I help high achievers in all walks of life get unstuck and out of their own way to achieve their potential. And I specifically do this using hypnosis. And I podcast too. If you found any element of this conversation really landed with you, you want more, my podcast is called the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. Here's the spoiler. It's actually a peak performance and personal development podcast disguised as a golf mindset podcast. You don't have to play or know anything about golf to find value in it. So just keep that in mind. And then if you want to learn more about one-on-one coaching or just me in general, you can reach me on Instagram at the Paul Salter or the golfhypnotherapist.com.
Oh man, so good. And again, this hour goes by faster than you think. It goes by very quick. We got to get you back on. And again, social media, they can find you everywhere that you find social medias, and go from there. But I appreciate you coming on, my friend. I thank you very much, and I look forward to get you back on, because we need to get you back out here and see where you're at. But again, appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. Again, the Elite Real Estate Podcast, it's not always about real estate. Now I can say that it's disguised as real estate, but it's not really real estate. It's more mindset, all those things. And you can find us at eliteedgenetwork.com. On YouTube, it's the Elite Edge Network, and you can find us everywhere you find that. So I appreciate you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, follow Paul Salter, get on his YouTube and all his pages and follow and like him too. So I appreciate it, my friend. I will talk to you guys soon.